I used to fight for the night shift. Everyone else at the restaurant hated those hours. They complained about the silence, the empty parking lot, and the feeling that someone was always watching from the darkness beyond the windows. But I didn't care. I had just moved to a new state for school, and being a student was expensive. Rent, textbooks, food, transportation, everything added up faster than I expected. The night shift paid extra. That was all I needed to know. While everyone else wanted the normal hours, I volunteered for closing shifts. It meant fewer customers, less stress, and a little more money in my pocket. Honestly, I even liked it. After midnight, the restaurant felt like a different world. The bright lights, the loud music, and the constant noise from the day disappeared. All that remained was the low hum of the refrigerators, the occasional buzz of the soda machine, and the soft crackle of the fryer oil. I could finish my homework between orders. I could think. For the first time since moving, I felt like I had some control over my life. My coworkers didn't understand. "You're seriously okay being here alone?" they would ask. I always laughed. What's the worst that could happen? I would regret saying that. The night it happened was a Thursday. My coworker Jenna called me around 9 p.m. "Can you cover my shift? I'm sick." Normally, people hate it when someone called out. I didn't. A quiet night meant more time to finish my assignment due the next morning. So I grabbed my uniform and headed in. By 11:30 p.m., the restaurant was completely dead. The drive-thru screen had been empty for almost an hour. The parking lot lights illuminated rows of empty spaces, but beyond them was nothing except darkness. No cars, no pedestrians. Just the occasional sound of wind moving through the trees. I cleaned the counters, counted the supplies, and set up my laptop in the corner near the employee area. My plan was simple. Finish my assignment, close the store, go home. Around 11 p.m. I was typing the last paragraph when the lights went out. Not flickered, not dimmed, gone. The entire restaurant dropped into darkness. The refrigerator stopped humming. The fryer went silent. Even the small buzzing sound from the ceiling lights disappeared. The silence was worse than the darkness. I froze. For a few seconds, I just sat there, listening, waiting for something, anything. I pulled out my phone and turned on the flashlight. "Great," I whispered. I walked toward the breaker panel, expecting to find some obvious problem. But everything looked normal. No switches had flipped. No alarms were going off. Then suddenly, click. The lights came back. I stood there for a moment. Everything was exactly as it had been. The refrigerators were running. The fryer was heating. My laptop screen was still glowing. I laughed quietly. Okay, weird. I walked back to my desk. That was when I heard it. A car. At first I thought I imagined it. Then I heard tires rolling slowly over the pavement. A vehicle had entered the parking lot. I checked the clock. 11:56 p.m. That was strange. Almost nobody came this late. I put on my headset and walked toward the drive-thru speaker. "Welcome, whenever you're ready." No answer. I waited. "Hello?" Only static. Then a voice finally came through. A woman. But something about it felt wrong. Not scary, not yet. Just old. Like someone speaking through a damaged recording. "Hello?" I cleared my throat. "Welcome to the restaurant. What can I get started for you?" There was a pause. Then the woman spoke.
"One McLobster."
I blinked. I looked toward the menu board. Maybe I misheard. "Sorry, could you repeat that?"
"One McLobster and a hula burger."
I stared at the screen.
please.
Those weren't menu items. Not limited time offers, not hidden options, nothing. "I'm sorry," I said. "We don't have those items available." The static grew louder. Then the voice changed. Not louder.
One McLobster
Colder.
and a hula burger.
I forced a nervous laugh. "Sorry, I think there's been confusion. Can I recommend something else?" The woman didn't answer. For 5 seconds, there was only static. Then she repeated,
1 McLobster. 1 hula burger, please.
Again and again. The same words, the same emotionless tone. Like she wasn't ordering food anymore. Like she was repeating something she had been saying for a very long time. I removed my headset and looked around the empty restaurant. Something about that voice bothered me. I walked to the register and looked at the menu. Nothing. I grabbed my phone and searched the names. The results loaded, and my stomach dropped. The first image was an old advertisement, a faded newspaper clipping, a menu board. The date was printed at the top, 1960. I stared at the screen. The items were real. They were just impossibly old. I looked back toward the drive-thru window. The speaker crackled. "Are you still there?" I slowly put the headset back on. Yeah. My voice sounded smaller than I expected. "I'm sorry, but those items haven't been sold in over 60 years. Throat tightened. I should have said something, anything, but I froze. Then the voice said my name, not the one on my name tag. My real name, the one only my mother ever called me. Every hair on my arm stood up. The fluorescent lights above me buzzed once, loud enough to make me flinch. Then everything went black. For 3 long seconds, I stood in complete darkness. No refrigerators humming, no fryer, no air conditioning. Just my heartbeat pounding so hard I could hear it in my ears. The lights snapped back on, dimmer than before, yellow, weak, like the restaurant had suddenly grown decades older. The drive-thru headset crackled again. The woman spoke, but this time, she wasn't alone. The same order echoed back at me in overlapping voices, not shouting, not whispering, just repeating it over and over, slightly out of sync. 1 McLobster, 1 hula burger. My hands were shaking so badly I almost dropped the headset. Without thinking, muscle memory took over. You can pull forward to the window." The words left my mouth before I realized what I'd said. Outside, the headlights remained still. Then, inch by inch, they began to move, not like a car pulling forward, more like something slowly dragging it closer. I forced myself toward the pickup window. Every instinct told me to run. I unlocked the window and looked outside. There was no car, only silence. Then I saw them. Just beyond the edge of the drive-thru light stood a woman holding the hand of a small child. They didn't move. They simply stood there. The woman's clothes looked decades out of date. Her face was hidden in shadow. The little girl looked up at her, then back at me. The woman slowly raised one hand and pointed toward the menu. Her lips moved, no sound, but I knew exactly what she was saying.
Lily,
the headset hissed beside me. The same words came through, this time from every direction.
Where is my order?
The child took one slow step forward, then another. The woman followed. I slammed the window shut. I don't remember running. I don't remember crossing the kitchen. I don't remember grabbing my phone. The next thing I knew, I was sitting on the floor of the manager's office with the door locked, my back pressed against it and my phone clenched so tightly my hand hurt. Outside, I heard a car door close, a single horn, then another. After that came the sound I'll never forget. Tires scraping across the pavement, slowly, as if something was being pulled away instead of driving. Then, silence. I stayed there until sunrise. I never heard another voice, never heard footsteps. I just kept staring at the door, waiting for the handle to turn. It never did. At exactly 6 o'clock, my manager unlocked the front entrance. The moment she saw me, she asked what had happened. I couldn't answer. I took off my headset, set it on the desk, handed her my visor, and quit. I've never worked another night shift. I still don't know who or what that woman was. I don't know why she wanted food that disappeared from the menu decades ago. And I still can't explain how she knew my real name. But every now and then, when I'm driving home late at night, I'll stop at a red light and notice a pair of headlights sitting behind me. They never get closer. They never pass. They just wait. And every time I remember the last thing I ever said to her, because I never told her no.